It's Thursday on the Rick Corey Sports Special. We talk Union football. That's the head coach right there. He is Kirk Fridrich. No, he's not just dressed as a head coach today on Halloween. He is a head coach of a team that had one heck of a night, 69-28 over Broken Arrow. And the offensive numbers, Kirk, they were eye-popping. Going in, did you see some holes you thought you could take advantage of?
Well, we felt like that some of the stuff that they were doing schematically, I thought Coach Maddox did a really good job looking at the way they would try to attack, specifically in the secondary. I thought Shaker kind of makes that go a little bit when you've got a quarterback that can do those things with the release that he needs. And in some of the zone coverages, we were able to get some guys open. And then, some of those plays, I thought also were great effort plays from the receivers or the guys that were catching the ball because a few of those you're throwing the ball 11 yards and he's going for 40 yards afterwards, or I know Boston reversed the field on one of those catches and had enough speed to get some nice yardage after the catch. So both sides of that I thought were really good. The coach and his scheme, and then just the effort and the guys able to execute it. And I thought they did a really nice job.
And early on, it's 7-7, and both teams are driving. And I thought really up until the first half, even though you looked to be in pretty good control, it was that scoop and score right before the half that, in my opinion, kind of flipped everything and really started the momentum. What did you think?
Yeah, I think, there were two plays in the second quarter that I thought were really good, and that was one of them. Broken Arrow had scored and got it within 7,
Hmm.
and then they got us to a 3rd and 10, and I thought that Stone Turner, the catch and the effort that he made on the 3rd and 10, broke a tackle. It's about a 4-yard pass,
Hmm.
broke a tackle, and then just kind of tightrope the sideline, the Broken Arrow sideline, to pick up about 12 or 14 yards on a 3rd and 10. If they had stopped that one there, we potentially were punting there, and you don't know what's going to happen. But we went on and scored on that drive. So that effort from Stone, I thought was a big play. I think there was about 3 minutes left in the half. He picked that one up. We went and scored, and then the scoop and score, the big hit out of Rion caused a fumble and the flare pass, and then the scoop and score. I really do. I think it took a little air out of the game, and then we had to play just an exceptional third quarter.
Rion had some really nice hits in that game. I thought he showed up very nicely. There were a lot of guys played well defensively, but he was in a lot of plays.
Yeah, he did. He played really well. Tucker continues to play well. Had a couple of sacks. We've gotten a lot of good production out of some defensive linemen. Josh Teehee played his best game up front. Had some plays. Logan Rowe has come on kind of in reserve and rotated in and got some really good plays. Logan's made some nice stops, and then like I said, Tucker Cooks played well. JT had a really good game, played well in the secondary, and just those guys are playing well. We went in knowing that we need to try to stop the run. I think they had about 20 yards rushing on the night. We did give up quite a bit in the passing game. We've got to do a better job with that, but the kids executed what we wanted them to do, and then Shaker played outstanding.
Yeah, before we go back to offense, I wanted to ask about that. Roberson comes in as one of the leading rushers in the state, and he's held to 28 yards. What was so effective? What did you do? What was the plan to hold him?
Well, it's schematically, there's a lot of things that I mean, as a defense, I always tell people that the American football game is the greatest game ever. And I'm saying this, the morning after the Dodgers have become world champs. So good deal there with the Dodgers. But I really think they could have put however many people when they made the rules. They could have put anybody any number of people on the field, and they put 11, and so which means it's an odd number. You got to have 6 or you got to have 5, right, on either side of the offensive center. So I mean, you can't have both, and so it's a numbers game. And when you load the box or you put that many in there, it makes it really hard on offenses if you can execute to try to run the football, and then they have to be able to pass the ball, and they did that effectively at times. But I felt like that our guys played really tough and made it hard on them.
Yeah, and I did think their quarterback Satembo, he was kind of a warrior. I mean, he played his tail off. He never quit in that football game. But you're familiar with him. That's just the way the kid is.
Yeah, Jeremiah's good kid, good player, and like I said, he came from our system and has done a really nice job for Broken Arrow, and expected him to play well. They've got some really good receivers, and but overall, I was really proud of our Union kids and the effort that they played with defensively, and I thought they did really well. And then when the game was out of reach, we gave up some yardage there in the fourth quarter, but really excited about Coach Foster and the plan that our defensive staff had.
And there were records in this thing for Shaker. And when we talk about quarterbacks, you have to look at his numbers: 28 of 32, 506 yards in the 69-28 win, 648 yards total offense overall. Shaker's just one of those guys. He can have that night any night. There's no question. But he was particularly on. They gave him some things too, and he didn't miss anything. Was that one of his sharpest nights?
Yeah, I think so. He's starting to get some trust in the receivers and the adjustments that we've had to make, and those guys. And then you don't want to leave out the tailbacks. I mean, those we rushed the ball pretty well, and they caught the ball out of the backfield. Tay did a really nice job with that. And offensive line makes everything happen, and with some of the unorthodox scheme that Broken Arrow runs, I thought our offensive line did a really nice job not getting confused and gave us the time that we needed for that. And the yardage record, I didn't know if it'd get broken or not. And that goes all the way back to Justin Fuente,
Right.
425 yards against Fort Smith Northside. So that's a good record. But man, going over 500 yards, that's pretty impressive.
That and the 8 touchdowns are a record as
Eight
well.
eight
And
touchdowns.
yeah,
Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
yeah, and you mentioned your receivers. I thought lately it's been Boston Carrasco had I don't want to even call it a slump, but he had a middle of the season where wasn't as much production. He had 196 yards receiving, and then Stone had 173. I mean, that's quite the pair. Are you seeing Boston's level come up? Is he just getting more comfortable, or defense is giving him things because he has produced more the last couple of weeks?
Yeah, I think, and like anyone else, kids are playing better because it's cooler weather, the things that we're asking Boston to do. There's a lot of running going on, motions, routes, a lot of plays. He's playing a couple of different positions from the receiver spot. And, I think that him finding the groove of where he is doing really well. Having him and Stone kind of go off of each other is pretty good. And then, don't want to overlook Miles Davis. I mean, Miles had an exceptional night at tight end, starting to block, even more physical than he was earlier in the year. And then, of course, had a couple of touchdowns and a nice catch in the end zone there early in the game.
Matter of fact, he had three scores, I believe. And so, when's the last time you remember a Union tight end having 3 touchdowns?
Yeah, it's not very often. I know Coach Ulibarri coaches those guys, and Miles is I always say he's a big receiver. He's very athletic, can catch the ball very well, and been coaching that kid a long time. Really proud of him.
I can imagine. So now you turn your attention to Westmore, got to go to the other side of the state again. And this is a long drive like some of those are. And this is a team that, if you look at them, I mean, you look at Trey Lewis, their quarterback, he's thrown for almost 1,200 yards. Their running back, Jalen, got 568. Bryce Collier's got 585 receiving. They look dangerous, but the record doesn't show it at 2-6. What do you see?
Yeah, it's a new coach over there, and I think the biggest thing that I've noticed is how they're getting better. They're just not getting over the hump. They opened their new stadium in midseason, so we'll get to play in a new stadium over there. They opened it with a win over Northern North, so they've got the talent to have some big plays. I think they had 4 or 5 explosive plays. I'm talking over 50-yard plays to score touchdowns in that game. Defensive front is dangerous. They've got some outstanding. They run a 3-4, but there's those rush ends, those outside backers that rush the passer. Those guys are really playing well, and it'll be a night where you better come loaded and be ready for that group because in the receiving core, kind of an air raid offense, and so with the new coach and I really like their football team. Like ours a little bit better, but a little biased there. But I think they're on path, and we'll have to see down the road. But they have gotten better. They just started at a lower level, trying to get the new offense and defense put together.
And when you see the quarterback who I mentioned, Trey Lewis, has thrown for about 1,200, but he's had problems with interceptions. What do you see when you break down the film on him?
Yeah, I think he's forced a few things early. When he has scrambled, he's created some really good stuff. He actually came back in. He didn't start the year as a starting quarterback, and so he earned that spot. And he's found some receivers. They got a young freshman that's playing corner for them as well. Jersey number 7. The name escapes me right now, but they started using him as a slot receiver too. And so makes them tough when they're spreading it out like that.
Yeah. All right. Now, toward the end of the year, you mentioned the cool weather. It's 50 degrees this morning as we record this. So it's going to be a popping around practice today, even though I know that Thursdays are not there. I mean, there's not a ton of, I know there's work going on, but it's not the kind of work you'd have on a Tuesday. But this will kind of rejuvenate everybody. And it does certainly make you, there's something about it when it gets like this that it feels like the playoffs, doesn't it?
It really does. When you this time of year you get into these games, you're playing a senior night somewhere, right? I mean, it's either your senior night,
Yep.
your last home regular season, or it's somebody else's, and it just feels that way. And it's an exciting time of year. Man, it's been so competitive in our district. I mean, you look at where guys are and how things are shaping up. There's some great battles. Broken Arrow and Edmond Memorial
Yep.
play this week. We're playing Edmond Memorial next week. So with the district being this tight, it ought to be a lot of fun to see how it turns out.
You've seen teams peak at the end. How do you feel this group is peaking?
I feel really good. It just took us a long time.
Mhm.
I felt like to complement each other. I mean, the last couple of weeks, I feel like the defense has complemented the offense, and we've played like Red Hawks. It's what I told the team last week in the pregame is it's a great day to be a Red Hawk. We need to play that way. Offense, you need to pick us up. I mean, defense is going to make a mistake. Offense, pick them up. Play together. Special teams, come down, make a big play on the kickoff. I mean, get something started for us that can help each other out. And I felt like they played a complete unit. Had a lot of fun. Obviously, it was a big night. A lot of fun beating Broken Arrow the way that the game went. But I was really proud of our kids and the way that they came together as a team.
That's a good way to put it. A while to complement each other. You could see the talent, you could feel that you're going to win games, but it just didn't feel as smooth as you would like it to be. And it certainly did the other day. Now we'll see if we can keep it going on a big long bus ride over there. Well, tell me all about the new stadium. I'll be in Birmingham.
All
But
right. Hey, you had a great one. So go Hurricane, right?
yeah, 13 touchdowns between the two quarterbacks I covered last week, so it wasn't a bad
Yeah.
day. All
Yeah.
right, we'll see you next week, Kirk.
All right. We'll see you. Thank you.